All right, let's just dive into it, huh? So we've got some Grixis stuff here today, and I have this is a viewer submitted deck list, and I have a couple of thoughts on what we're doing before we get started. So I made a couple of small changes, but I kept the core of what the viewer submission was intact. My first question is, I wonder if only having 3 Murktide Regents is correct. One thing that's notable about this card is that when you delve the second one, the first one gets bigger, so these cards kind of work well in tandem with each other. My other question is, there's notably no monkeys in this deck. So I wonder if no monkey is correct. Like, these Dreadhorde Arcanist and Harmonic Prodigies might be better as the more powerful 1-drop. And then the third question, I think this is honestly the biggest of them all, is the black splash worthwhile in general? So I think there's definitely merit to being a little bit bigger blue-red decks. We've got like Snapcaster and Counterspell, so we're not strictly like the other prowess decks in the format. But, you know, with Counterspell, disruption like Thoughtseize becomes a little bit less important because we have this generically powerful answer in Counterspell. And with the Unholy Fire, or whatever that other 1-mana card is, the Unholy Bolt that deals up to 6, Fatal Push can be kind of covered by red spells now, since you can deal 6 to something with it. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see how this goes today. I'm glad you're enjoying Guardian Tales, Neo. It's a really cute little game. It's genuinely impressive how far mobile games and gaming in general has come, right? If you would have told me something like that was going to play on my cell phone a decade ago, I don't think I would have believed you. Speaking of, the stream all this week is sponsored by Guardian Tales. We're actually getting really close to my first goal for that. So if you want a really easy way to support the content, check out Guardian Tales on Android. It is a mobile ARPG/puzzle game you can install using my link there in chat. If we hit that 150 people checking that out and playing the prologue goal, we're going to have a bonus stream on Sunday, July 4th. And if we hit my stretch goal of 200 for that, I'm going to do the Sunday stream in the owl costume for old time's sake. I've added the Moto overlay here that MTGBot provides, so it says our league and our record, so people don't have to ask that. Samian, thanks for the 22 months. Welcome back. This is probably a mulligan, right? No second land, no cantrip. Technically have Chandler into a Surveil, but that doesn't seem worth keeping. You did hear owl costume. Listen, I know when to bring out the big guns, chat. The big wings. Netrunner. Netrunner is a game that I had played a little bit of forever ago. That game reached end of life support, right? Yeah, this hand could literally be anything. I don't know what this hand actually is, and neither does my opponent. Start with the Serum Visions here. I'm gonna bottom the redundant bolt. I think we're gonna keep the Counterspell in the dark. We'll stop on my opponent's turn here. You want to stop on their upkeep when you bauble their card. So I want to bauble their card before they draw it, so I know what they're gonna card that they're gonna have in their hand. But I want to do it during their upkeep, so that way, if they're a deck with discard spells, I don't draw the counterspell here and let them take it with like a Thoughtseize or an Inquisition here. I think we're just passing here at this point, because I can hold up Blood Scour, Counterspell, depending on what they do. Savvy Triumph. This implied something maybe Burny, but Savvy Triumph implies something a little bit slower. Yeah, maybe we should create a command for spoiler season. Can we just make it say Jeff will do a full spoiler review after the entire set is spoiled? When was the last time we did the owl costume on stream in public? It's been a little while. It's been a hot second. Minga Hamster, thanks for the 14 months. Welcome back. Unfortunately, the G-Tails promo is just for Android devices. Whatever technology they use doesn't work on Android or on iOS. All right, so definitely something mid-range. Oh, this is probably Bring to Light, huh? they can bring to light for Tibalt Imposter here. So I think we let them see our hand. And we can go ahead and bolt this. And then I'm going to fetch Shock for a black source and Thought Scour myself here. Something to keep in mind if they are Bring to Light Teferi is that, or Bring to Light Niv is that Teferi is a possibility for next turn. Unfortunately, Owling Mine's best days are behind it, so we will not be playing Owling Mine, but... Huh. I think I'm going bottoms up here on these. I'm gonna go ahead and play Dreadhorde Arcanist. I'd kind of like to dig for one of our Thoughtseizes, I think. Another thing to keep in mind, someone in chat asking if we have Death Shadows. We don't have Death Shadows, but we're just like incidentally dealing infinite damage to ourselves because that's how these fetch shock mana bases work in this format. So definitely feeling our mana base here. It ain't free. So the 27-month Strax. In fact, speaking about it not being free, it appears that the submitter, I probably should have checked. I think I added a land to the mana base, but apparently I missed that there was no basic mountain in this deck. So perhaps there should be a basic mountain to not get brutalized by our own mana base. Graveyard on that one. Bottom here. Neither of those are very good. Drax, thanks for the very generous tier 2 and for the 27 months. Welcome back. I mean, I guess we keep that. I'm going to counter this because it potentially keeps them off of a land. I would love a Snapcaster Mage. And again, like, my opponent actually hasn't done anything to us this game, and we are now at 7 life. Like, we've done 13 damage to ourselves with our mana base. Which again, one of the during the deck tech, again, one of the things I mentioned was, is this deck, are the black cards worth it? I think is a real question that we have to ask ourselves with this deck. Because if we didn't have the black cards in our deck, we'd be +6 life right now at a minimum. Potentially more, we wouldn't have to play as many fetches. Obviously, this is a matchup where we're not getting punished for hammering our life total, but that won't be true everywhere. Now, the fast lands aren't super playable in 3-color decks in this format because they're just worse at fixing than fetch shock land mana bases are. I will not be dyeing my beard anything for the 4th. We settled on an owl costume. I've got that lying around. Maybe we'll do we'll split the day and do the Godzilla costume too. We'll do half and half. I mean, I think there's definitely merit to potentially just playing Murktide instead of the other Delve threats inside of a traditional Grixis Shadow deck. But again, that looks a little bit different than what we're doing. So you're just like suggesting we play a different deck, which is fine if you want to play a different deck. But I wouldn't compare this deck that we're currently playing to a Grixis Shadow deck so much as I would compare it to something that's more like blue-red mid-rangey. I think it is a mistake to draw a parallel to Grixis Shadow with this deck just because our mana base incidentally hurt us. I would question whether or not we want the current mana base we have if the colors that we're playing are worthwhile. Nope, not even a little. All right, Aether Gust sounds great. Alpine Moon can turn off Valakut. Fatal Push, obviously not great here. Unearth's probably fine. Trim a Bolt. Oh, the rest of these cards seem very good here. Yeah, pretty much everything we stream ends up on YouTube. Decks got to be pretty terrible to not make it up there. And the modern decks especially. I usually don't accept modern deck submissions for decks that will be so bad that they won't end up on YouTube. I don't think it's really accurate to say that we're like a tempo deck. Like Counterspell's a deck that like goes into a more controlling shell. Like, we've got actual finishers in terms of Murktide, but like, even Dragon's Rage, like, I don't think Dragon's Rage Chandler automatically makes you a tempo deck because its card selection is good inside of control decks. Yeah, I would classify this as more of a control deck, which is why the mana base hammering us feels kind of rough. Like, I'd be pretty surprised if our deck with our mana base and the way we're constructed is competitive against the prowess deck in the format. Morning, Jarvis. It has been a hot second. Hopefully we'll get some Paper Magic tournaments again. I'll take a trek out to the East Coast. Harmonic Prodigy also might just be too cute. Like triggering Snapcaster Mage an extra time is like kind of unnecessary. I think I'm in for Aether Gust. I think I'm gonna bottom this Torko there. I think this is just like a matchup where I'll take every Aether Gust we can get. It's real good. What if we just, like, draw step Aether Gust this? I think I'm into that. We're technically getting 2 for 1 by it, but I don't want it to sit here and draw a land for them every turn. They could play a Dryad this turn that kind of punishes us, but getting Wrenn and 6 out of play has value. We could Gust with a fetch on the stack. Yeah, that's true. I don't know, they ended up fetching it away anyways, so... Ah, yes, this asshole. Okay, so... We'll snap Serum Visions here. We've played a good bit of Modern since we've been back, but I haven't played a deck like what we're currently playing against Teferi, an actual deck that really cares about instant speed interaction. But it's been a hot second. The experience hasn't gotten better. Knight who says knee. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. Yeah, and with Valakut in play, this Dryad's gonna kill us very quickly. Even starting this turn. Yeah, we're just dead at this point, right? All of their lands deal 3 now. I don't have a way to actually. And then, you know, again, talking about one of the things I mentioned was Fatal Push being part of the Black Splash versus Unholy, whatever it's called. Unholy would be a card I could have in my deck here that would kill Dryad easily and would kill Teferi. And this does not do that. Maybe I'm supposed to have this in my deck just because killing Dryad is so important. We do have a lot of fetches and baubles, so enabling Revolt's pretty trivial. Yeah, that's probably the case. Keeping Dryad out of play. I wish this was the red spell, but we'll play what we've got, I suppose. Yeah, Unholy Heat, that's the name. I keep forgetting its name. Stupid new Magic cards. These Zoomer Magic cards, chat. Yeah, this is fine. Can we bottom a Snapcaster Mage? I don't know. I just keep saying the unholy thing and people know what I mean. It's fine. It all works out. You know, it's funny. I don't really care about showing off our specific record in whatever league that we're playing, but I finally added the Moto overlay thing up here that other people use because it really is, it's honestly quite baffling to me that Moto doesn't have it, but like there's nowhere on the actual Moto interface where you can see what game we're currently in. And like knowing in the current match if we're currently in game 1 or game 3 is something that's relevant. Or game 2 or whatever. So it puts that up there nicely. So long as that prologue complete came up, we should be good to go, Mean Bean. Appreciate you taking a couple minutes to do that. And a number of people that did that overnight. Appreciate all y'all. Yeah, it's got big, like, SNES Zelda vibes for sure. Man, imagine if this Harmonic Prodigy was a good card instead of a Harmonic Prodigy. I probably should have cut these. I don't know. We're going to give them a chance, obviously, because we registered for the league with them, but definitely not super excited to be casting this card. I guess next turn we get to... Next turn we get to double Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, they could be more Dreadhorde Arcanist or Ragavan or something like that. Morning, Duck Doolittle. But like the prowess effect on this, we're like not quite aggressive enough to leverage prowess, really. Yeah, I guess they do double each other's prowess triggers. That's true. But like, that's also like, if they work well together, that's also kind of a reason to not just play 2 of them, right? Like, if that's one of the things you're going for, like, you should just play a bunch of them. And I also am not sure that, like, our deck necessarily is aggressive enough to leverage a bunch of them. I'm just not going to be uploading the Moto deck list, no. In order to upload the Magic Online deck list, I would have to enable Stream Decker as an extension, manually upload a deck list, and then when we get to the Magic Arena portion, manually unload it, and then reload Untapped, and I'm just not doing all that every day. People watching Boomer Magic can work with Boomer technology. Yikes. All right, and then we got a whole lot of nothing going on, huh? I guess I should have waited on my fetch land until I saw the Snapcaster Mage resolve. Although I wanted a swamp, so maybe that's not true. And now we have no pressure. Sedge. A telegraph of today's modern matches. Lol. Helix on top. Yikes. Means our next threat, if it's not exactly a Murktide, is gonna die in a blaze. Although I suppose the Snapcaster Mage is a pretty fine draw as well. That at least cantrips itself before it dies to a Helix. And tread water here a little bit, but I assume this is going, yeah, to the top of their library. Okie doke. I'm gonna go ahead and snap Scour in response here. Because we could hit a counterspell. And I think I'd rather cantrip this and let it die to Helix. If they downtick Ren on this, I can kill the Ren with a bolt, so that's fine. Hey, thanks to a couple of people that just completed the Guardian Tales promo. Appreciate you. Thanks for supporting my content by doing that. And I assume this is going to die to a Helix. Thanks for the follow, Spongy Paint. Yeah, if this had been Unholy Heat, we would have killed this run in 6, right? Oh god, it's been so long, chat. It's been so long since I've been fail of summered. Oh no. Yeah, one mana cryptic command, GGEZ. We're gonna hold on to this fetch here so we can crack it to fatal push something. Oh, I guess my overlay thing is blocking their planeswalker here a little bit. I wonder if we put this down here. It's probably fine. Is that better? So they didn't get Scape Shift because Alpine Moon is turning off Farlicut at the moment. And in spots like this, you know, we talked about too during the deck tech, like should we have 4 Murktides in our deck? Like, Murktide is arguably one of our best draws, right? It's just like a 9/9 for 2 mana at this point. Or an 8/8 for 2 mana. Yeah, Valky would have been good. For sure. Okay, and now with the fetch in play, I'm actually going to Bauble myself because we can scry with this. Alright, I guess we take that because it resets the run in 6. Yeah, they had Valky game 1. His opponent's deck good. Yeah, I think it's fine. It's playing a bunch of good answers and it has a combo kill. It's just like 5-color combo control, basically. Instead of playing kind of clunky cards like Niv, you play Scapeshift as a combo kill. It does also get to play busted cards like Veil. You're not wrong. Hey, there's a murky boy. Exile instants and sorceries that I do not care about. You. My body is ready for a Wrath of God or some such thing to punish this. Veil of Summer. Veil of Vomit is more like it. Alright, we'll bolt this and then we'll get our auto pass value on here. It's a 41 months DMS. That's quite some time. Welcome back. Yeah, Teferi, bounce your Murktide. $50-day subathon. Yeah, I think people are trying to emulate what's his name did that, right? Okay, so we're dead. I get to bounce to Alpine Moon and kill me with Valakut. What's his name? I'm forgetting. The Ludwig was the big one that did that, right? Modern Humans as a submission. Yeah, I think so. Most good reasonable decks I'll take. I think that one still qualifies as both of those things. Alright, what are we bottoming here? Honestly, I think it might be Snapcaster Mage. You're like, fetch a red source, go Chandler into Bauble, and then like set up for a fast Murktide. The biggest streamer of the game Escape from Tarkov. Is it Dr. Lupo? Or is there someone bigger than Lupo that streams that? Lupo's just one that I... Pestilly. What kind of metrics do they hit that they're bigger than Lupo? I don't follow real video games like that. Again, gonna Bauble during their upkeep. Bauble during their upkeep, so if they're a discard spell deck, they can't discard spells. Thanks to whoever completed the GTLs tutorial. Appreciate you taking a few minutes to support my content with that. For reference, Silence, I'm just gonna call your bluff because you are not correct. That person is smaller than Lupo. Lupo's actually not the number one, but these are things you can look up objective metrics for. I guess let's look at 30 days. Ooh, for the 30 days, no, still under on average viewers. Yeah, okay. Yeah, landmark is the highest. I always prefer to use objective metrics for things that we can generate objective metrics for, so. Binned an island, drew an island, feels Magic Man. If we bin a creature or an instant with this Surveil, Dragonblade Chandler gets to lift off, which is nice. What's a Lupo? He's one of the larger creators on Twitch. I have a few of the larger creators from each category followed on different social medias and stuff to get ideas for content-related things. Not everything they do is always applicable, but oftentimes it can be. Main deck Fracture, that's interesting. I guess it hits a lot of stuff in this format. Does Lupo do other games? They did something else before Tarkov. And they were just generically one of the bigger things on... Oh, it kills Saga. That's funny. So if I bin this, I can Murktide next turn, so I'm going to bin it. I'll take their Batter Skull, I think. He played Fortnite with Ninja. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. I don't actually really watch many people that stream non-Magic stuff. I occasionally like poke into their streams to like get ideas for like overlay setup type things, other things like that, but most of the content I actually consume is Magic related. I think we keep the Bauble in here. Like forward. Thanks for the very generous tip. Haven't seen a lot of what's going on. Let's check out some humans. Yeah, definitely. So, as a heads up, I've got a Modern deck list locked in for tomorrow morning already, and then I'm taking the rest of the week off for Modern to poke at some other things, so that deck list can be up on Monday next week or any other day that you'd prefer. So let me know if you'd like it on Monday first thing or on a different day. And like, you know, it's even like a pretty big Tombstalker, right? Like, even it's a little baby Tombstalker, but still like a pretty decent pickup overall. There's a Snapcaster Mage. We don't have anything to snap back with yet, but their hand also isn't doing a whole lot. Well, in order for Snapcaster to make Murktide bigger, it has to have something in the graveyard to Snapcaster. And honestly here, with the Sword of Fire and Ice coming down, I'm going to go ahead and just trade these 1-for-1 before they get to equip the sword to it. So it's not going to grow the Murktide eventually. It's dead. I traded it in combat. Moto does not, but there is an overlay in the lower right-hand corner that says Game 1, if you look at the screen. Reading is busted. I expect it to be nerfed in the next patch. Salt Block, thanks for the 3 years. That's a long time. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. No, humans actually got a couple of cool new tools. Like you can play Imperial Recruiter to toolbox a little bit with it, so looking forward to it. I appreciate the submission. Okay, so I think I'm gonna crack at least one of these fetches. I don't think I need to hold two for Revolt enabling. Is that a good draw, chat? Oh yeah, I've seen some people playing Esper Sentinel too. I'll do some Google searches and figure out what's good. I'm not sure if Recruiter's idea. I'll take a look at a bunch of what other people have been doing. All right, we got a bunch of good cards for this matchup here. We're going to bring in all of these. Kess comes in here for the grindy matchup. I think Thoughtseizes come out here. I want cards that play to the board in these games. Engineered Explosive seems fine. What do I want to trim? It could be a Thalia deck. Maybe Counterspell's a little awkward if that's the case. Let me trim these Harmonic Prodigies. They just don't seem very good. I mean, Collected Company is a card that's very contextual power level. So, speaking of standard and arena stuff, I've decided I'm gonna let the subscribers vote on the format of the next Hoaglandia Open. Our next Open is definitely going to be Sunday, July 11th, and I'm gonna send out my next sub survey on July 1st. And there'll be a question on there where you can vote for the format. We're either going to do Historic with Brainstorm, and I think Memory Lapse ban. I talked about Expressive Iteration, but looking at Jeskai control decks, a lot of Jeskai control lists have actually cut both Brainstorm and Iteration, and I really hate Jeskai control, so I want to ban a card out of it. So I'm thinking Brainstorm and Memory Lapse, because Memory Lapse is nonsense. Or and I don't know, I kind of like this idea better, but I'm torn. They're both good. 4-set standard could be interesting as a format. Kind of a rotation preview tournament where we just play with Zendikar through the D&D set with those 4 sets legal as a standard format. We did one of those before rotation the year prior, and it was neat. And it gives a good basis. For people to look at things for the upcoming rotation. No, I wouldn't include the current core set silence. We would just play for the four sets that'll still be legal in the fall. With 4-set standard, you would keep the ban in place. Yeah, probably, because that card will likely remain banned in the fall. Obviously, I can't know what Wizards will do, but I'd be surprised if they unbanned it. Once rotation happens, 4-color Omnath will be the only card from a currently standard set that simulate new standard with a core set. Well, it wouldn't be new standard silence. Like, that's just not how it works. Also, the D&D set is replacing the core set. The D&D set is effectively considered a core set for this year. I get the intention of like wanting to have 5 sets in standard because that's how standard works, but it would be less interesting to people, I think, by a lot. I think I'm in for a Murky Boy here. Big boom. Again, gonna do this on their turn. This way, if they have a Thoughtseize or a Tide Hollow Sculler, I don't draw the Murktide until next turn. Solitude entered the reveal zone. Rude. I think one of the features I appreciate most from Magic Arena coming back to Magic Online, aside from the obvious, is Magic Online's incredibly clunky revealed zone, instead of just like directly seeing your opponent's hand, just feels so atrocious. It is just not a good user experience, having to like manually keep track and dismiss these things as opposed to the client doing it automagically for you. Really, they took Counterspell. So taking Counterspell implies that they're interested in casting something next turn that I could Counterspell. Double Bolt. Deal. Just take notes like in paper or something like that. Yeah, and I think I just grab the old Blood Crypt here and kill this one as well. Looking for another blue source here, obviously, now. You're surprised Moto doesn't have a built-in notepad. It does have a built-in notepad. Okay, here. Testing. Oh, wait, I should write Solitude up here, right? Solitude. All right, so now I know they have a Solitude in their hand because I wrote it down in their match timer. Oh, rats! When their timer starts going again, it resets and takes the words out of it, but it's gone. I lost my notepad, chat. It's unfortunate. I think we just pass. They like have Counterspell up. And honestly, if they don't play into Counterspell here, I think we just like end step K command, you discard a card, I'll pick up Dreadhorde Arcanist. This is why you get the base of bucks. I appreciate the primary. Let me Pikachu. Thanks for the 16 months. Welcome back. Maybe Lambton? I don't know. Like, the upside to a Jeskai variation is that you get access to Helix, I suppose, and Helix can offset some of the damage you take from your mana base. But honestly, I just didn't really feel like the straight blue-red build we played was missing things. Yeah, they've been knocking designs out of the park. The question for the D&D set, at least for Standard specifically, is how stompable are they? Which is why early rotated Standard where Stomp is not legal could be fun. Well then, as much as I want to land, we're going to keep a Snapcaster Mage. It's a very cute little game, isn't it, Tough? It's genuinely the best mobile game I've ever done a promo for on stream. Oh no, taking the Arcanist got rid of my Delirium. Yikes. Maybe I should have been the Snapcaster. I guess we Serum Visions and hope to find an island here now. I get 2 shots at it. Hey, speaking of, thanks to whoever just finished the promo for that. Appreciate you. I'm gonna go bottoms up here. I think we just tap out for the Arcanist here now. If we hit that 150 goal for Guardian Tales, I'm going to be streaming on July 4th, on Sunday this weekend. And if we hit my 200 stretch goal before that day, I'm going to do the Sunday stream in the owl costume. So if you would like to make me dress up, feel free. This could be the punish here. If they have Ephemerate with the Solitude, another white card, we get got here. For not holding up the counterspell. And they have Undying Evil. Yeah, that'll do 2 big. Alright, this does mean they're empty-handed, though. So, like, my Murktide's going to get to be an 8/8 here. So we've got that going for us. Yes, it needs to be... emulators, I don't believe, work for this promo. It needs to be on an actual factual Android device. Yes, Guardian Tales does what all of these mobile games do, which is obfuscate which currencies are which and what they actually cost. That is definitely an accurate summary. Magic Arena did not invent obfuscating the currency. Am I delving this bolt for the extra 1? I think I want to save it for Snapcaster Mage. Because when we snap the bolt later, this will still turn into a 7/7, which is nice. We can dodge another Solitude. We can dodge a ball. So we'll snap bolt the Solitude, attack them for 7. Until Windows 11 comes out. Is Windows 11 going to have Android integrations built into it by default? Is there a reason to do this now? Yeah, it makes Murktide 1 bigger when I do it now. And I was going to want to do it before they attack me next turn anyway, so I might as well do it and get the extra point of damage in. Have a good one, Drax. You know, always catch up later on YouTube as always. You'll just be able to use the Android store natively on it. That's sick. That's a fantastic feature. Smart. Christy just sent me this picture. Our 12-month-old just like passed out. She is a year old now. Yeah. With the happy birthday balloon. she likes balloons. She actually did have a light night. She woke me up twice over the course of the day. I think she's getting ready to hit a growth spurt. She actually out-ate both of her brothers last night at dinner. She ate 5 chicken nuggets. She actually usually only does 1 nap a day. Only she's never really been a double nap a day. Out ate her brothers. Her brothers each only ate 2 or 3. She downed 5. How many chicken nuggets do I eat for comparison? I'm a vegetarian, so I don't consume chicken nuggets. Do the boys snack a lot? Yeah, one of the things we've actually been trying to push back on them with is try and get them into more structured meals. Because especially once they head back to school in the fall, they're not going to be able... They're definitely grazers, and we've enabled that where they just kind of snack when they're hungry. Is there a reason my kids are not also vegetarians? Because... When your children are 6 and 7, you're happy when they consume anything, much less trying to force them to eat a specific diet. Also, I'm not a vegetarian for like ethical reasons. I'm a vegetarian because I don't really enjoy the taste of meat. My wife is not a vegetarian. I've been doing the vegetarian thing for since the summer I was 17, so 13 years. League matchmaking failed. Boo. All right, our Grixis pile of cards confirmed better than Sewer, black-white Sewer. That being said, like, the black part of our deck wasn't particularly useful there. I guess the K command was okay, but like we boarded the Thoughtseizes out. Listen, Matthew, I know for a fact you're older than I am. Hey, thanks to whoever just completed the Guardian Tales prologue. Appreciate the support. If you're a non-sub and would like a sub gift, DM me a picture of your account past the prologue screen, and I'll get you hooked up with that after the stream today. Grab a Steam Vents here. Is Bolt good against the average Urza Saga deck? Probably. Although I guess, you know, actually, the fact that they played Urza Saga on 1 kind of implies they're Amulet Titan, right? So maybe I shouldn't keep the second Bolt. Yeah, we should hopefully hit, I think we're on track to hit the bonus stream for Sunday goal, but we might not hit the owl costume in it goal. Which, I'm going to be honest, if we don't hit the 200 goal and I don't have to wear an owl costume on Sunday, I wouldn't really complain, so let's hit the 150 and get the extra content. But if you don't want to punish me, I wouldn't be sad. It's a win-win, really. Either I don't have to wear the costume or we hit the other goal. It's an all upside challenge. All right, Amulet of Vigor into Dryad. Okay, so I need to get rid of this, right? Think that one's got to go. So we're definitely in for Counterspell here. I'm going to bottom the extra Bauble. And then we'll double bolt this, crack them for 3, hope they don't do a big thing next turn. Sorry, crack them for 5. Prowess. Thanks, Steebs. Another Dryad on top. Yikes. Dreadhorde Arcanist really feels kind of slow and fair in this format. That is not one we can counterspell, Chip. Are we going to get to Harmonic Prodigy Dreadhorde Arcanist triggers here? We might. Yeah, if you click the link on mobile, it should pull up a screen with a QR code on it. And if you scan the QR code on your phone, it'll download on whichever phone you scanned it on. Well, I mean, dollars aren't really a consideration when I'm building decks here. So, like, I'm not playing Monkey because the person didn't request it. I think you're right that Monkey's probably better. I don't know, this is about to be a pretty good turn. Is double bolt lethal? This is 4, 8, 9, 10, not quite. So I think because it's not lethal, we double Serum Visions. Looking for disruption. Bolt the dome. Oh, I should have waited till no blocks, huh? Yeah, okay. Punted. Forgot that they could do that. Okay, and then we're not playing Murktide because I want to hold up Counterspell here. Yeah, Supali. Another thing to note on Twitter when you're especially new at it, you'll notice a lot of, not all of them, but most of the most obscene accounts are people who have new accounts and they have like no avatar and no followers because they're not really people. They're people making throwaway accounts or they're people running bots. Okay, so Abrade and K-Command kill amulets. Aether Gust sounds good. Yeah, first name bunch of numbers is basically never worth your time to interact with on Twitter. There's a subgroup of people. John 95394. Ouch. I mean, I'm sorry, John. The truth is rough sometimes. Yeah, checking when accounts are made can be a good judge of whether or not they're worth it. But honestly, the big thing you should know about social media is hearts and minds are effectively never changed on social media. One of the things I think about with when I decide if I want to engage with a point that is likely being brought up in bad faith or is what I feel is an out of touch position is the thing to think about is, especially with someone like me, is you're not engaging with someone else to change the person's mind that you're engaging with. You're engaging with that person to potentially influence the minds of other people who are reading it, outsiders looking in. One of the big things, one of the good kind of mantras or mottos to think about is, you know, if two outsiders just see a bunch of people flinging shit at each other, they don't really think much of either the person flinging poop. I think this is again a matchup where I have to keep fatal pushes in because of their stupid dryads. I think I'm trimming bolt. These kill the saga tokens too, which is nice. I mean, it's not even just the character limit on Twitter that makes it so you're not going to be able to change people's minds. It's that you can't logic someone out of a position that they didn't logic themselves into. Someone that's arrived at a position based purely on emotion and feelings isn't going to be swayed by any amount of reasonable cases or things to remove themselves from that spot. They didn't get into that position from a place that was reasonable, and they're not going to get out of it regardless of how reasonable you are. 132. Thanks to the folks that took a couple minutes to do the prologue. Appreciate you. Is this good enough? Probably not. This hand could, like, technically be anything, but, like, the mana's kind of awkward and there's no threat. I think we mulligan. Alright, I might keep this. It's a little ambitious, but I have this into a Surveil plus a draw, plus we're on the draw this game. I wasn't convinced. I wasn't trying to convince you. I was convincing the audience. Yeah, exactly. Is that from Thank You for Smoking? It's been a long time since I've seen that, but there's a lot of merit to that. Does it feel like Grixis asking the $100 question? I'm having the strangest sense of deja vu for my opponent's opener here. Hopefully we draw a black source in our 3 looks next turn, so we can Thoughtseize them. Nice! Nailed it. Never didn't have it. A true skill game that my opponent and I are playing. Their point attempted to paint themselves as objective. I mean, like, people who are unreasonable always want to paint themselves as objective because they're trying to entertain an audience too. The opponent picked up a Crumbling Vestige, which is a colorless land that comes into play tapped and makes a mana when it comes into play of any color. Nobody is ever really objective. The key to having a decent discussion and engaging with other people is understanding who has what biases and why. Anybody that tries to sell you on the fact that they're objective is usually, generally speaking, lying to you. Humans aren't objective creatures. The key is acknowledging your bias and then understanding where their point of view is coming from. Hey, thanks for the anonymous subgift, whoever did that. Appreciate you. I think I keep the Bauble here because it enables Revolt on this Fatal Push. And they have 2 Dryads, and I'm going to want to Revolt a Fatal Push and then Snap Revolt a Fatal Push. Fox, thank you for the 27 months. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. Morning, Mr. Punny. All right, so they're getting an Amulet this turn. I'm not selling objective opinions, but if you buy a hot take, I'll throw an objective opinion for free. Bringing in engineered explosives against our deck seems kind of interesting on the opponent's part because they likely want to explosives for 1 against us, but they also don't really want to explosives for 1 when they have amulets in play. This card is so unreasonable, chat. It's unreal how much better this card is than Delver of Secrets. And this card's good even without Mishra's Bauble, and with Mishra's Bauble, it's just stupid. Hey, thanks to whoever just completed the G-Tails tutorial. Appreciate the support. explosives on 3. Are they worried about Blood Moon? Is that what that means? They're worried about Blood Moon? I would love an Abrade. Hey, Gorgo. Thanks for the 3 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So let's do this and take a peek at... I think I'm in for another Snapcaster. Let's take a peek at the top of their deck to decide what I want to Abrade here. Because there's a Titan on top of their deck, we want to Abrade... We want to Abrade the Amulet, which there is a Titan on top of their deck. Got it. Are we dead to that? And this is, this is another one where imagine this fatal push in my graveyard is an unholy heat. Instead of a fatal push here. Like I'm just cold to a Resolve Titan, right? Just have actual no outs. The way this deck is constructed. Confirm that that's the case. Okay, actual 0 ways to take a Resolve Titan off the table. Outside of Double Bolt, which isn't in my deck right now, so it's not very good in this matchup in general. Yeah, rough. It kills Titan too. Yeah, they knew exactly what they were doing when they made that card deal 6 damage. So we're going to Bauble ourselves here. And I am definitely in for Thought Scour. So I'm going to go ahead and shock in this Watery Grave so we can Thought Scour next turn. If there was a card on top of my deck that I didn't want to draw, I would play the fetch land and fetch before the Bauble trigger made us draw. So I just like play a 5/5 on turn 2 here. I think so, right? Second best red card in the set. There's a lot of good red cards in the set, to be fair. Like, you're competing with Dragon's Rage Chandler and a couple other good ones. Slacker, thank you for the 37 months. Welcome back. Fuji Blaze, thanks for the 28. Good morning, good morning. Fuck, they have Dismember. And now we have nothing. We have pain, yes. You know, honestly, I think I kind of want to take the Explore, huh? Nah, that's gotta be wrong. It's gotta be wrong. Man, if only we had one more instant in there. And one more instant or sorcery would have been in such a good spot. The explosives here. Delaria West, sure. All right, so we'll play Chandler, get some pressure down, and we can Aether Gust. Their Titan next turn. Nah, not really into that. Thought Scour would be a fun draw because we can get rid of their thing off the top. So they can't Titan next turn. No, these each tap for 2. They're not dead to pack. So do I, since they can't Titan next turn, I think we just Harmonic into Serum Visions here. So I'm attacking him down to 13. And then next turn I have to K-Command them. Because otherwise the Titan comes down and gets haste on my following turn. So do I have time to Murktide? I think so. Just be like, so we attack for 3, they tap out, it comes back to us, we K-Command them, they Titan, but they can't attack with it. And then we Murktide as an 8/8. 1, 2, 3, yeah, probably an 8/8. Oh, yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. And they have a Cavern of Souls in hand, right? So this doesn't do anything? Yeah, this is one of Coalescence Apparel's magic-themed design. They do a bunch of things that are plays on other popular pop culture things. A lot of really fantastic designs. I think I'm shocking them with this, right? Destroy an artifact. They have 4 cards in hand. And this is them for 5 down to 8. Gonna bin some extra instants and sorceries here. Hey, what's going on, Jonah? Yeah, it's good to be back. Thanks for the 20 months. All right, we're dead. Good chat. Should have been thinking about Bog. So we're gonna finish this league out because you can't make changes to your deck in between matches. But so far, this definitely just feels like a worse version of the blue-red mid-range deck that we had played the week before last. The black has made the mana base incredibly painful. Dreadhorde Arcanist and Harmonic Prodigy have felt aggressively mediocre, and the black cards definitely feel worse than playing in a Holy Heat and other blue and red cards we could be playing in those slots. Dragon's Rage Chandler continues to be impressive. I think that's a card that's worth considering putting in the blue-red deck we had played last time, but overall, just not particularly impressed with what this deck has going on. Amari the Collector. That's cute. Wonder what their deck is doing with that. They Thoughtseize on top of my deck. And I think we're into that. Oh, they're playing the Enchantress deck with that. That's kind of hot. And this is kind of awkward here. I want to play Arcanist this turn, but I really need to take Enchantress Presence before it happens because we're a Grixis deck. I can't actually take that card off the table, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. We'll play Bauble. I mean, Primeval Titan is banned in Commander, is banned in Commander, but not in Modern, because Primeval Titan is one of the remaining sacred cows in this format that hasn't been banned. If Wizards was more proactive about managing their formats and banned problematic cards, I think both Primeval Titan and Mishra's Bauble would be banned from this format by now. They are not cards that create good, interesting situations or healthy play patterns. Our opponent is playing the Collector on enchantment. It's kind of interesting that they didn't draw this last turn when they did nothing. Eidolon, brew. Eidolon, Ted. And Tron. I disagree with you that Tron would be banned from this format. I think Tron creates kind of feel-bad play patterns, but in terms of pure power level perspective, it's nowhere near offensive. Mishra's Bauble literally just goes into everything. I do 1 or 2 cubes. I'm planning to do 1 cube draft and then 1 set of historic matches. They probably don't have the companion pulled up and forgot about it. What kind of person would put a companion in their deck and then forget to grab it? You have to be some kind of big silly to do that. Alright, Spell Pierce and Aether Gust for sure. Engineered Explosives are a lone way to kill some enchantments. Did I say Bauble doesn't make interesting decisions? That's not what I intended to say. What I intended to say was Bauble's in everything, and it makes deck building decisions less interesting because it basically just goes into everything and it's optimal. It also takes cards like Luris that are already pushed and pushes them further. There's too many Bauble decks in the format because it enables too many things incidentally. It's uninteresting for the format in that perspective, not in terms of uninteresting in terms of specific play patterns. McKnox, thanks for the 26 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And thanks to whoever completed the Guardian Tales prologue. Appreciate you. Might actually hit that 150 goal today. Nice, Philly. You rock. Need 2 more cuts here. I want to leave bolts in because killing their enchantresses is important. Mishra's Bauble is pot of greed. Honestly, that's a pretty good comparison. And I don't know that comparing to cards you put in your mana base is a good comparison. It's more comparable to something like Gitaxian Probe. Can you cast Explosives for 3 with Lurrus? You cannot. Lurrus can only cast X spells at X equals 2. From the graveyard. You can cast it from your hand with X is 3. Oh, I need 2 trims. Just gonna get rid of Harmonic Prodigies again. It's just the weak link. I'm sick of building a modern deck and then releasing a new modern set and it changes the format with expensive cards. It's very frustrating. You have to accept the fact that the type of modern format that you used to play, where you could have a deck and it would be legal and competitive for basically forever, that no longer exists. And if you want that out of your format, you just shouldn't be playing Modern anymore. Honestly, like, Magic doesn't offer that experience anymore, really. Wizards of the Coast has realized that they were leaving money on the table by not monetizing their non-rotating formats. Honestly, your comment reminds me of... I saw a post on Twitter the other day of someone who was upset. They posited that the original intention... Their tweet was something along the lines of, the original intention of Modern Horizons was to make Modern more accessible, and cards like Ragavan make it more expensive, not more accessible. And I just wanted to be, I didn't respond to it, but my thought was, oh, my sweet summer child, that you thought the purpose of Modern Horizons was to make Modern more accessible. No, the purpose of Modern Horizons was to monetize a format that they previously hadn't been monetizing. Purpose of Modern Horizons was to get some late stage capitalism going on in your non-rotating format. Even Modern Masters, to a degree, wasn't about reprints. If Modern Masters was about reprints, the booster packs would have cost $4, not $10 or $8 or $12 or whatever they cost. It was never about making things accessible. Man, Rest in Peace is really good against us, huh? Orinell, thanks for 25 months. Welcome back. Like, Magic's great. I'm enjoying playing Magic. Magic is fun. But, like, you know, Wizards of the Coast is not your friend. There are people that work at Wizards of the Coast that are friendly, good people. But don't confuse friendly, good people working at Wizards of the Coast with Wizards of the Coast, the corporation, being your friend. Remember, chat, if it was profitable for a company to gut you and sell you for parts, they would do it. The only reason why companies don't harvest humans for parts is because governments make it illegal to do so, and making it illegal to do so means it's not profitable. Why didn't our Delver... We found the spot where Dragon Rage Chandler is worse than Delver chat when Rest in Peace is in play. When everyone says companies aren't soulless husks, I remind them of child labor laws. Did you see was it the New Hampshire? It was one of the states that starts with New Hampshire or something. I think it was New Hampshire, but the Libertarian Party of whatever state it was, their official Twitter account had made a post where they were like, we need to get rid of child labor laws because children will learn more in the workforce than they will at school. And it was one of those takes where it was just like, it was so astonishingly bad, I had to double check and make sure it was an actual libertarian account and not like someone making fun of libertarians for being that stupid. But no, just like actually just the verified Libertarian Party account for one of the states. What's going on, Virtuous? Good to have you back. We're going to keep getting rid of these Thoughtseizes because we can't leyline them. What are we looking for with Surveil? I honestly don't know. Our deck doesn't really have cards that work while Rest in Peace is in play. Yeah, I guess Engineered Explosives, but also I guess just like lands. I think I'd keep lands and just cast a 7-mana 3/3. I think we're just like hoping their deck doesn't work and we like attack them 3 times with these idiots and they die. It did, Orinel. Thanks for the 25 months. I guess people ask what we're looking for. I guess Counterspell is a card I'm looking for at this point, or another Aether Gust. I'll target myself because I'm the only one I can target. So not, you said Solemnity? Sorry, they're not a Solemnity deck, they're a Solitary Confinement deck. They're grabbing with Grove here. Thanks to whoever finished the G-Tails promo. Appreciate you. Remember, if you are a non-sub who did the G-Tails promo and you'd like a sub gift, DM me a screenshot of your account on the main screen past the prologue, and I'll hook you up at the end of the stream today. We could get locked out here. So opponent's deck gets set up with Enchantress's Presence here to draw a bunch of cards, and they play Solitary Confinement to lock us out of dealing damage to them. We do have 1 copy of Engineered Explosives that can clear a 3-mana enchantment, but that is it. Yep, and there's the Solitary. So they have Shroud. They don't take damage. He's playing Feed the Swarm of the sideboard 2 reactionary. Yes, I think you would just cut. You would just rather play a different color. Like Wear Tear, for example, is very good right now in the format, I think. So like I think I'd rather just like splash white than black. I'm keeping Counterspell. Hey, Robo Reagan, thanks for the sub gifts. Good morning, good morning. Not attacking because they don't take damage. Yeah, I love it, Precipic. We've never had creature lands that are explicitly good in aggro before, and that's what these are, right? These are creature lands that come into play untapped on 1 and 2, so you can play them in your aggro deck to help when you flood out. It's really, really a fantastical design. They have Ghostly Prison, so they're going to have to lose this next turn, right? Because they only have 1 card left in their hand. Yeah, they're going to lose. They're going to lose the confinement. They're either going to discard their card and then skip their draw step and do nothing. No, yeah, they just spin it. And now we have a counterspell. There's new creature lands in the upcoming standard set that they come into play tapped unless you they come into play tapped unless they're your first or second land for the turn, and they're single they make a single color of mana. I'm gonna attack with just one of these, so I can hold up Counterspell here, and then we still kill them next turn attacking with 2 Snapcaster Mages. So we'll counter anything that prevents us from killing them next turn. They don't have that much mana, so I'm just going to go ahead and let them do their thing here. The odds of them drawing 2 cards that prevent us from killing them next turn are low. Not impossible, but low. Okay, that counts. Do I keep Bolt in case they go... Have they played a land yet this turn? Cast Enchantress Presence, draws a card, cast Utopia Sprawl, draws a card, chooses white, cast Eidolon. They've not played a land yet. Do I keep the Bolt? Do I keep the Bolt so that way I can kill if they go land blocker? I think we do, right? Because they have 2 mana Enchantress in their deck. I can't bolt their Dome because they have Leyline. Dryad Arbor? I don't think so. Wow, that's super punishing. Maybe I should have been thinking about that and digging for a 6th land. Brutal. There's a good chance we get locked out now. Man, we almost beat the Leyline Ripdraw out of them. That's fine. This is only game 2. We're up a game, so if they pull this out here, we'll have to have game 3 on the play. We played a little bit of the opponent's deck, not with Helix Pinnacle, but most of the rest of it. It's very mediocre against the decks that aren't attacking you with creatures, which is a lot of Modern. It's cute, though. It's very unique. It's a archetype they tried to push into the format with a lot of MH2 printings. And always, whenever I lose a game and my opponent's at 1, it's always like, did I miss a point of damage somewhere? Just gonna go ahead and concede here. I want this league to take 400 hours. It's already going to. Hey, I think I'm happy with how I boarded. Let's just run it back. I'm gonna cut these Dreadhorde Arcanists for Harmonic Prodigies, actually. Board down on. Our deck really leans into the graveyard. Rest in peace was brutal. A matchup is Kess 4. Anything fair, I would imagine. This is a viewer submission for people that are joining us late. We're not playing those as often because I raised the price on them, but I am still taking some viewer submissions. Excited to get ley lined. Have this Thoughtseize be useless. Feels Magic Man. Back to Nature. If your deck can cast Back to Nature, I think Fracturing Gust is a very reasonable Magic card you can be playing in this format. I just don't really feel like playing anymore. I'm kind of off this deck. So, I have my conclusions here. This deck was bad. It's just a worse version of other things you could be doing in the format. We specifically had played, it's titled Blue Moon, but we actually ended up cutting the moons from the main deck. But I think doing something like this is just a better variation of what this deck was trying to do. The black cards really didn't feel like they fixed any problems that this deck was having, and they made the mana base significantly worse while also making us worse against it. Honestly, not only did the black cards not make this deck better, but they made it actively worse. They caused a significant number of problems. The Thoughtseizes against that last opponent's Leyline deck were much worse than having access to more counterspells. The Fatal Pushes against Amulet Titan were much worse than having access to Unholy Heat. Like, yeah, I think if you want to splash, and I'm not even sure that you do, I would rather have access to white cards. You can have things like Wear Tear to interact with a lot of the things that are going on in the format more. But yeah, overall, this one was definitely a big miss for me. Honestly, you know, I've wondered a couple of times, should I lower the price on modern submissions? But like almost every modern submission we've had, I love you, Hoaglandia, but almost every modern submission we've had has been mostly a dumpster fire, so I think we're gonna leave it where it's at, and we'll just keep me picking most of them. They're some rough pet decks are rough, yeah, and like and honestly the summation of like, and this is just a good deck building thing in general, but like a lot of these kinds of decks are, you need to think about, is the deck I'm building just a worse version of something else? And I think this, you could draw parallels to being worse versions of this deck that we had played in terms of wanting to be mid-ranging and controlling, and it's a worse version of the more aggressive Dragon Rage Chandler deck that want to be proactive and run people down. Yeah, modern, and that's part of why I'm taking fewer viewer submissions too, because like this set left me feeling a little middling, but like the red-black deck yesterday that I picked out that like has been posting results, there are a ton of interesting decks in this format that like, you know, we've played all of these different things, and they've been good, and they've been fun, and they've been sweet, or they've been evil and sweet, and there's a good range of things you can be doing in this format without getting super out there and playing things that are just kind of bad, so.